Hello and welcome to the Growing Pains podcast, where I speak to business leaders and founders about the realities of entrepreneurship, lifting the lid on what it's really like to grow and build a business. This week, I'm delighted to be joined by Steve Hilton, the founder and CEO of Liberty Apps, with a client list that will be the envy of many. Steve, welcome. Delighted to have you. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. Had a interesting weekend, let's say. It's always something happening to me.
Yeah.
Whatever I try to do, there's always something that, I end up getting a story out of it, which is always helpful for businesses.
Why don't you tell us a little bit more about Liberty's journey to date and how you got to where we are?
Yeah, so I kind of like to begin. It's about the end of 2008, and I'm working for another company, and I've had a bad experience with them because in the first month it was fine, they paid me, but then ever since August going up to November, they didn't give me any of the salary that I was owed. So I had a really bad perception of private companies, especially agencies, and I just thought, well, it can't be that bad because my dad, he ran his own business, but he wasn't like he was paying his staff, is what I'm saying, because you could see how difficult it was sometimes for him to just kind of get by and pay the mortgage and pay who he needed to pay. And obviously at that point I was like, a little boy growing up, and you didn't have much obviously when you've got a self-employed dad. So yeah, it's just that kind of place. I had family experience of business, so as well I just thought I did understand systems as well. So I think that's one of the things. When I was at college, I did ask to do business studies, but they never bothered to put me onto the business studies course. It's really weird. I get weird stories, but I did get on to do the IT that I wanted to do. So that gave me a good footing to do websites. Because I think, I've always loved making websites. Again, going back to me when I was at school, just getting the first computers into the house and just typing on the keyboards. Always found that interesting. And there was actually a website I did where I parodied the teachers and some of the other people in the school. But I just kind of left at the right moment, so I didn't get in trouble for it. I guess if I'd done it a year sooner, I might have been suspended or something. But just started at the right time. So it's just that passion that I have for wanting to make, I suppose, cool things. But it's just I've always wanted to have like a good user experience of what we would call it these days. I wanted it to be nice and clean. So I was always looking at the other websites, and trying to go in the source code, understanding it. So when it came to this point, in 2008, had a good idea about websites, and at that point, I had like a Palm Trio phone. Everyone else probably had the Windows mobile phones. It was just before the iPhone and the Android phones were coming out. So I just thought, all right, okay, well, I'll just set off on my own, and if they're not going to pay me, basically. So the frustrating thing about all this was that it did take a few months for me to actually land a client. And I was fortunate because I'd been working in a school at some point as a IT technician. Just in a local school near me, like just a few miles away. Some of the teachers there remembered me and said, "Oh, well, there was a project for one of the exam boards, the Welsh one, and no one seems to want to do it. It's like an app, as we would call it these days, but you have to do the Welsh translation." So that's the thing. That was like, I always say to people, it always takes about 6 months for you to actually get that first project usually, because no one knows who you are and you got to go out and tell people what you're doing. Because I was just thinking, because I'd done websites and was good at websites, then I could just put the website up and people would find it. But no one was finding it. It's actually coming from the actual people who knew that kind of connection that worked for me. So from there, I kind of just built that first app for the Welsh exam board, and then we had some kind of proof of concept that we could actually do the work as a sole trader, what you would call it at that point. And it just kind of grew slowly because the same people kept coming back asking for the same things and websites, and like at the same time the tech evolved. So in 2010, I got an Android phone. I'd just been to Tottenham Court Road. I'd just been playing with it. I thought, oh, wow, it's so cool, like actually touching the screen. Because, like I said, I had this stylus phone. I thought, oh, that was cool enough, but yeah, to actually just not need the stylus anymore. It's just so slick and intuitive as well. So, I wasn't expecting anything to happen with everyone to have these phones. I thought, oh, the geeks will have these phones and they'll enjoy the phones, and maybe 25% of the people will be on Twitter and will just be smart and take pictures and but yeah, I just wasn't expecting it to get to like the TikTok of today. It's just mad, isn't it? How everyone's got their phones and how it's all ended up. So yeah, like I said, I just thought we'd stick with web for a few years because I thought, well, even though it's like this new thing, these apps were out, it just felt like the web was going to be everywhere eventually, and that was the way to go. So it kept going and going. Got to 2014, um, and I think I just changed my mind at that point because we'd been doing websites, but we weren't really standing out. If you understand, it was like we were just another company. So I thought, well, if I'm smart enough to do apps and I can find someone else who can do the iOS, because I was doing the Android, Neil would do the iOS, then we'd have a nice kind of match together that we could work with and hopefully, because again, at that point, we try to convince people to, well, sometimes they would only want Android or iOS at that point. So you got to try and convince, both audiences. So yeah, so I kind of said to Neil, yeah, just do this. So we just started with some driving instructor apps at first, and they were cool. And so it's like, again, going back to what I was saying about the website, we just so persistent in what we wanted to make at the time. Obviously, we could do a lot better now, but for months and months, we worked on these driving instructor apps, and so we thought there was some really cool ideas and having the ability to help people to learn to drive as well. So that was a nice thing as well because when I was trying to get through it, I didn't do too bad like with the test, but it was just so fractured. It took like 3 different driving instructors. So it's kind of thinking, if you're in my situation where you kind of keep coming back to different, but it's nice to have an app that all the driving instructors could use and just show the road scenes and everything. But yeah, like I said, it's so important to make something that people wanted. So we did that, and we went in. I think they had a Facebook again. Going back to 2014, Facebook group. We went on a Facebook group with all the driving instructors in it, and then said, "Here it is, a really cool app," and they were like, "Brilliant, yeah!" So they all loved it. So that kind of put us into a really good place until 2015 when we bumped into someone from, well, it was actually Crown Paints. Actually, they saw us on LinkedIn. I think they saw our video of one of the driving instructor apps, and I thought, oh, okay, these guys are good enough to do the job. So yeah, we then assigned to do this kind of, well, it was augmented reality at the time, but again, it looks dated now. But in 2015, 16, it's such a different world, isn't it? But we did it. We're like, oh yeah, we want to do that. So yeah, we worked on it, and it had all these different features, like the whole of the catalog, different brands, calculators, maps. So we just done everything we could. So then I think I realized at that point that we got a big brand. So then we could talk about ourselves more. And it felt like I was the right person to do this because I loved kind of talking about these apps. So I just started going out to different networking events. Just tried different, like BNIs, which I always recommend. Just to start. I mean, I'm not saying what we do now, but it's just to start. It's like, if you don't know where else to start, BNI is a great place to do because they're all across the world, basically. And yeah, so I just think I just found some interesting networks in Manchester, which were like Silicon Drinkabout. So what kind of happened was it was every Friday since like 2015 onwards. There was maybe at the start it was maybe 10 people, 20 people, 30. It grew to about 50 people eventually by 2019. So we were always there kind of talking to not just tech people. You would get some people like KPMG would come out, and some of the gambling companies and some of the accountancies, and so it was like a nice mix in Manchester of all these different firms who all want to kind of come out and learn about different things. So yeah, we kind of managed to pull Warburtons through that because we got recommended from KPMG. It's really helpful. Yeah, because I think they'd send me like just persistently out all the time, showing off my app, so they knew that I was good enough to just kind of work at that level. So yeah, so it's like at the end of 2016, we were talking with Warburtons about doing a project, and it was yeah, kind of a really cool kind of app that would require optical character recognition. If they had an idea about it, and they didn't realize it was possible with mobile phones. So we kind of managed to make it really quickly. So they're really impressed. So they asked us to do a few more apps. So then at that point, I was like, okay, well, now I think I just need to tweak a few things. So instead of going out to the events, I actually started speaking at the events. So I ended up, it was like a UX. I did a few, so there was an Android Manchester event and then a UX event. And then eventually I got asked to do was it British Computer Society as well. So it was just building up in like, it was just, it's pretty similar to how we started at the bottom with the clients. It's like building up these events from, yeah, no one knows about that event to the British Computer Society's pretty big event. And I then got asked to do the Manchester one and the London, so the Birmingham one. So that was like a good start. And then after that, there was a few other people in London who thought it was a good idea for me to go and talk, first of all, about chatbots, which was fine, but then about GDPR, which wasn't fine because that was just like the worst experience ever for me because I had no idea what I was talking about. It was a completely new thing at that point. No one had any idea. Uh, I tried to prepare the slides, but I just didn't understand it myself. I was just like, oh, it's such a big topic, and there's so many different things that were involved. So it was very difficult when I got asked questions at that one. I was just like, well, I'm not sure. You have to wait and find out. It just felt pointless having prepared to do all of that. So then after that, I was started to focus on AI and kind of chatting about, well, I suppose it was chatbots at that point, but given what we know now, is like the whole OpenAI and Gemini where we would end up at. So yeah, it was like a few digital transformation events as well. So I think again we just picked up a few more clients from that, from being able to do that, and then because I'd done that, I managed to get to speak at the Liverpool, the International Festival of Business as well. So again, still growing outwards and getting better caliber. And we managed to put our first stand up at, so that's 2018. Yeah, that's the first time we had a stand. I could finally, get the banner and everything. Well, pointing bear, but yeah, I used to always just point bear. It was just there, but not there anymore at the moment. So I need to get a new one. And then, yeah, like I said, we end up being asked to do a TED as well. So it was like the TED Future of Work 2019, where I was predicting that software engineers would be safe and we wouldn't have to worry about it. But maybe things like accounting would be going, maybe that kind of things that could be automated. So it was really interesting. And then the pandemic hit, so I kind of had to just go virtual for a while and try to keep things going. But yeah, we managed to get Adidas as a client in 2022 from just that kind of network of maintaining contacts and keeping up with people. So yeah, it's been like just a nice ride of growing gradually and slowly rather than super fast. And yeah, I said just adding more people to the team as we need them, because I think we just found if there was a new project that was not usually the right time to add someone new, because it's better to work with someone we already had in the team. Because there was this opportunity to do an app, and we found it the guy who'd written a book in this language, and when he showed up to make the app, he just didn't have a clue what he was doing. So it was so weird. Like we didn't actually test him on the actual subject because he's written the book. So this is why you have to do these tests basically. And yeah, it was just so frustrating having to go to the meeting with him and the client say, sorry, I really thought he knew to God. Thought, you write the book, you know. I mean, I'm not saying that I could write a book, but you know what I mean? It's just that level of knowledge you need to be able to write a book. It's just, yeah, was, yeah, like just one lessons you end up learning and realizing you've got to
Mm.
always chat to people. So yeah, like we said, we always thought that ever since that, if there was a new project, we just stick with the same people. But if once that got more involved, then we would bring new people in, you know, just so they could look at it and just look over it. So yeah, that's how we kind of got to the size we are now.
And have you found that with sort of the growth that you've gone through, talked about the sort of clients as they gradually built up, have you found that getting the right people and bringing the right people in has been one of the bigger challenges that you've faced?
Yeah, yeah. I think we do it better now because we have well, more experience, obviously. But yeah, a better process as well. And it's not just me deciding who goes in the team, but obviously it's important that I have the right, the right vision for the team. So yeah, I think generally we know what we're looking for, and usually we find it. Because that's the cool thing about having all these clients. People want to come to. Yeah, I always like, please come we work with you. So that's the cool thing about it. And I think that was something else that I thought. Obviously, going back to 2014, whatever, I always thought, well, if we just keep getting really cool clients, then people will want to work with us, and even both the clients and the staff. So yeah, it's definitely good. And as well, it's the whole apps that mobilize lives. Again, having that mantra that we want to make things that have a positive impact
Mm.
and turn down things like gambling apps. Because again, like I've been asked to do that a few times. Yeah, last year I think they asked us to do a casino or something. So yeah, it's just nice to be like, okay, well, we don't want to make things that people are addicted to losing the money on. You know, because I think a lot of these developers spend a long time learning how to code. So, and again, with the designs, well, it's the same with them. They spend a long time learning all of this, and it's always updating. So it's important that you kind of have that mission that is the right one. Because it just reminds me that I bumped into it was like a woman last week, and she asked me about this because we did a women's football team CIC. So I was kind of saying that, like, yeah, it's nice to do a CIC, but really, I shouldn't have been doing a CIC once I should be running Liberty apps and making sure Liberty apps is fine. So it's one of those things I was saying, you can get distracted because you've done something already. You think, oh, well, okay, I'm good at organizing the team or whatever, or good at we'll definitely setting things up. So it's always the case that you have to kind of calm down. And I think, yeah, there's the best business mentor advisors I had that just said to me, you need to focus on what you're doing. And there's a lot of times that, yeah, I don't. I just end up getting excited with something new, but eventually you come back to actually, no, I should be focusing on this because I've been doing it, like I know we're at 16, 17 years. Um, so yeah, like it's just, it's almost like having a child, isn't it? You've got to look after that child first before you try and do anything
Yeah.
else. You know, before you want to go on a holiday or anything or do something a bit different. But basically, yeah, I think there are times when I hear other people in other businesses and they do have a good idea that would link in with what they were doing. You know, so like if we were doing websites or videos or something like that, then maybe it would cross with what we were doing. But yeah, it's generally just always say to people, just stick with one thing, be good at it, and
Yeah.
that's better than trying to do multiple things at once and not doing it as well as you could. Yeah, definitely find that. Mm.
So with that in mind, what does the sort of the goals look like for the next 12 months in terms of the growth of the business?
Yeah, well, I think, like I said, we've been going for 16 to 17 years now. So we've mainly been in Manchester for the last decade or so. So I was hoping at some point we could get to London and have an office there. And yeah, I think the stars are maybe aligning now for us actually getting down there because we went to the London Business Expo in November. Obviously, well, it's still November, but just a few weeks ago, and we got like a good rapport with the people at the expo. So yeah, we've got a few interesting leads that want to work with us, and again, we've got we're just about to start a new project with someone in London as well. So yeah, I think it would just be really nice to kind of because I think sometimes you kind of become stagnant. If that's what I'm kind of saying. So we just stay in Manchester and we just keep doing what we're doing, and that's what I think I found for the last couple of years. That's where I am. So that's why we need to push to London or some yeah, just push somewhere. Is what I'm saying. Because if you're not, if you just get to where you want to go, then you just start to just slide, I guess, sometimes, or just plateau. But yeah, so that's what I mean. That's why we wanted to have this newish plan with London, and that's where we're putting a lot of the energy now. Yeah, to get into London, and yeah, well, yeah, like I say, hopefully this time next year, I'll be saying, oh yeah, and I know I'm talking to you in London, and it's all working out, and we've got all the clients we need to make that success. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, we'll set a date for that in a year's time. So you talked obviously about potential leads, and there's client work kind of down there. What in your mind then are there kind of risks and reward factors to weigh up about that kind of geographical expansion?
Yeah, because I think there's been a few times where there's been other businesses from Manchester go to London, and like I'd say it's like 50-50 on how well they do. Because yeah, I could say there's plenty of people who've been down there. Because I know Doug Doug Ward, and because he had a company up here and he took it to London, and brilliant, because then he went off to New York as well. So, that's maybe another step that you can think about. But then at the same time, yeah, there are other ones who have gone to London and just crashed and burned, or gone to London and thought it's not working out and come back to Manchester and just, happy up here, which is fine, obviously. But yeah, I just thought that I want to just push a bit more, just yeah, just because of the caliber of the clientele we have, it just seems to make sense that we should be nearer to them, than Manchester. Because I mean, I I hear a lot from the Manchester owners are like saying, "Oh, well, we wish that people from London would spend 2 hours coming out on the train," but the reality is that you're not going to, because we could do a lot more things in 2 hours in London. So I think that's a sad thing about like not having something like HS2 to reduce that time a bit more would have been helpful. But yeah, I mean, because I remember what it's like in the early days of the business. I was talking to the people from HS2. They say, "Oh, it's be literally ready by 2025, wouldn't it?" And yeah, not
Yeah.
not to schedule.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think that's what we need to do. Yeah.
And so other than HS2 falling apart and causing all sorts of other problems, what do you see as kind of the biggest challenges with the move to kind of opening up in London?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the getting the right staff, because I guess in Manchester we're a well-recognised company because I've been here networking for like however many years, like I said. So obviously in London it's not the same. We're going to have to do a lot more exposure and kind of get recognised. So that's what we kind of thought with the business. That's what was like a way to do it. But at the same time, I have been talking with one of the schools actually about doing a few presentations down there. So it's kind of, just working out a few other ways we can kind of reach the talent and the pipeline that we need for the business. So yeah, I've just got a few plans at the moment. We'll just we'll just see, because I suppose that's what we did with Manchester. Like we've been going into the schools for years and years and years. Just chatting away, talking about tech, helping them with the apps ideas. Like I said, there's a few times with the people, kids, sorry, have designed apps, and then we've gone in and kind of made it a reality. So those kind of things we can do in London, or whatever other kind of tech pops up. Because I think we're still we're still believing mobile apps at the moment, but yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not going to last forever. It seems to be doing okay. We seem to be okay
Yeah.
for now, but yeah, I think there'll be like some other device in the next few years that we probably have to start adapting for as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Obviously, you talked about the sort of early adoption of AI. What's your view, having sort of seen this coming from a bit further afield than perhaps most?
Yeah. So I think our experience with software development is it's not very good. It makes a mess of things. It's like I would say, AI is like a lottery. I mean, you might get lucky and it'll do something amazing, but usually it's not what you want it to do. If you start to use it to edit your existing code, it will start deleting fields off the page and changing things around, and yeah, you just cannot trust it at the moment. And it was interesting because there was a guy just resigned from Meta because he doesn't believe that LLMs are going to get much further. Um, and yeah, I'm kind of expectant it will be the same unless there's like a new way of doing these things. The program is not going to get any smarter than it already is, because it just feels to me like we've gone a year on since I last assessed this in like November. Like it was like December, start of December. So yeah, we're just getting there now, end of November. Nothing's changed. It's still the same. Just makes a mess of things. But then, admittedly, I think with images, there has been a big breakthrough this year. That's definitely changed because I've been using Nano Banana to play around with a few things like change text on images and add people into images. So there is certain things getting better, but yeah, I still think it's overhyped. And again, if you think about the videos, it's just ridiculous how expensive it is to do an AI video. I mean, just check out the Google subscription. It's like 250 just per month. Just that's before you even start making anything, and how much waste for the environment on these videos at the moment is just staggering. It really is.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. That's not even thought about how much that must be taking up at the moment.
Yeah. So
Uh,
it's got a long way to go in your mind.
yes, yes. Because I think there was a moment where I was, oh wow, this all seems to be clicking together. But yeah, once you actually dig into it, you just think, actually, no, it's not as cool as you think it is. Because I think it's like that start the first time you start using AI, maybe with ChatGPT or whatever, and you're like, oh yeah, it's cool. But then you start to realize it's actually lying, and because I said, there's been a few times where I've asked it questions and it's got the wrong answer. Because again, if anything's changed, because again, in programming, obviously, a lot of things get deprecated, but even with sports rules and competitions, yeah, if the rules have changed and it's wrong, it might say there's 5 subs now in football instead of 7 or 9. So yeah, it just feels like it's just Gemini, especially, just learnt everything in 2024. It doesn't know anything about 2025. It's weird when you ask it.
Mm.
It's like because it said to me that the year is 2024. I'm like, no, it's the year 2025. But obviously, it doesn't understand. But yeah, because it's just. But I guess at the same time, it will get smarter, and maybe we'll be able to pull through the websites from now. But yeah, it doesn't just not that capable yet. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's obviously still a big need for your services, and I guess that's probably nice. Way for us to wrap up is just for people to know, why do clients choose Liberty and why will they continue to?
Oh well, we've been going for 16 years now, and obviously we've got a lot of experience, so we can very quickly estimate apps. Like I said, we were just doing that the other week. This guy called us up, said an idea for a gym app, but no screenshots, nothing, just the idea. So within 24 hours, we managed to get the screen sim of a potential gym, and he was like, "Oh, that's cool, but you just need to add the subscription in." I'm like, "Okay, no problem." So again, another 24 hours, designs him. And yeah, we estimated that for him. And yeah, he's looking forward to working on it now. Yeah, so that's something that's how quick we can be with all that experience and oh yeah, how we've got all the codes already in place to build things quickly.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So if anyone's got a good idea, they need to come to you with it
Mm.
so you can bring it to life.
Yeah. Um,
Thank you very, very much. It's been brilliant to talk to you, and great to hear a bit more about Liberty. And we will
uh,
add in the details for all of the listeners to make sure that they get in contact if they're looking for development work. And we wish you all the best, and hopefully those plans to come down to London get to fruition.
Hopefully, yeah, catch up in a year.
Yeah,
Huh?
exactly. We'll speak then. All right, Steve. Thanks so much.